Hey guys, now we're going to talk about the engine that drives your business, which is driving depth in the organization. This is where the magic happens because now we're getting that leverage and that exponential growth that we talked about because we're going down level after level after level after level. And there's three things in particular we're going to study this module that are going to allow you to create that, to really drive that depth down. Now here's the first component. Listen carefully. This is really, really important. I need you to keep sponsoring, keep recruiting until you have at least 4 lines chasing you. Now, what does that mean when I say a line is chasing you? Let me give you an example. They call you up, hey, we got a new person, they're doing their first home meeting. They're down there on the 7th level. They're really excited. They're doing their first home meeting tonight, and they want to know, can you call in or can you Skype in at the end of the meeting? That's a line who's chasing you. Or you get a call, a text, an email, whatever, and they say, hey, we've got a new organization, 2 hours away. They've got 22 people so far. They're doing their first hotel meeting. They need someone to be the guest speaker for their big, their opportunity meeting next month, and they want to know, can you come and do that? That's a line that's chasing you. So that's what I mean by a line chasing you. There's active, engaged people doing the work in that line, and they're coming after you and asking you for help. They're chasing you, right? You gotta have at least 4 lines chasing you. So I don't want you to stop sponsoring until you have those 4. Because biggest mistake people make is, they get 1 or 2 people, seem like good people, they're excited, they're fired up, so they say, wow, I'm good. Now I'm gonna go into management mode, or I'm gonna go into supervisor mode. This is my biggest pet peeve in our profession. Companies like all these sexy names for their distributors, right? And they want them to sound big and official and important. So somebody sponsors 2 people and now they're called a supervisor, or they're called a manager, or they're called a director. And of course, as a writer in my very essence, I know the power of words. So when you call someone a supervisor, there's a subliminal effect that say, well, now it's time for me to supervise. Well, I'm a manager now. It's time to manage my team. No, it's not time to manage your team. Your team is 4 people. You need to have 1,500 people before we're going to start talking about how to manage your team, right? What do you need to be doing right now? Sponsoring, 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 sponsoring. Keep sponsoring until you have at least 4 lines chasing you. Okay, so that's the first component. Second thing, commit to each of those 4 lines, the leaders in those lines, that you're going to help them drive depth at least 10 levels deep. Now, what do I mean by that? It doesn't mean you're going to sponsor and put 10 people underneath them. That's not what I'm talking about. You committed to help them learn how to develop at least 10 levels deep. And then we're going to bring in the third part of the equation here, the third component, and I'm going to show you how they work together, which is rotate the pattern. So we're going to commit to help them drive at least 10 levels deep, and then we're going to rotate the pattern, meaning the training pattern, as we go down those 10 levels. So what are we rotating in the pattern? The 4 basic skill sets, which we've talked about in earlier courses in the program. How to meet people, how to work a candidate list, how to invite, and how to follow up. So we're going to rotate the pattern as we go down in there to make sure they're at least proficient in all 4 of those areas. Because this is the key. We've got to get every new team member proficient in all 4 of those skill sets as quickly as possible. And by as quickly as possible, I mean like in a week or 2. This is not in a year or 2. I'm talking about in a week or 2, or 3, we've got to get them proficient in all those. Now, they'll continue to get better and better and better. The longer they're in the business, the more they're going to develop those skill sets. But we've got to get them up to a level of at least competency, that they can do those 4 things right away within a few weeks, because that's what we're going to be doing as we drive depth. So we're going to make sure we're rotating the pattern of having them practice each of those 4 skill sets as we go down. Now let's go back to this second component where I talked about we're helping them drive depth at least 10 levels deep. And understand, got a lot of different companies working on this platform, we've got stair-step breakaways, and we've got binary plans and unilevel plans and all kind of hybrid plans. The principles I'm talking about here work in all those plans. So don't get worried about what kind of comp plan you have. That isn't relevant to this discussion. I still want you to help them drive depth at least 10 levels deep. Where you're placing people, that's a conversation you have with your sponsor, because that's going to be specific to your pay plan. But what I'm suggesting is you're going to help them you're going to work with your frontline person and help them drive depth down a line at least 10 levels while you're rotating the pattern. You're going to have them replicate the process with each of their people going down that 10 levels deep. So here you sponsor Mark. Mark sponsors Mary. So now we're going to go down and work with Mary. We're going to have Mary invite some people to her house, or Mary invite some people to a web conference or a conference call or whatever. Again, don't let the modality matter, because that isn't important at this point. We're going to help her contact her list, practice her skill sets of doing her candidate list, inviting people, getting them in front of a presentation. So Mark gets Mary, Mary now gets Nancy. Now we're going to help Mary help Nancy. We're going to help Mark help Mary help Nancy. We're learning these skill sets. Same time, we want Mark to be introducing other people besides Mary. So he should be doing that in another line. So maybe you're helping him on the outside, then he's working down the inside. Then we help those people work outside, they help their people work inside. Outside, inside, outside, inside. So what you're going to see is that's what creates security in your organization. Because again, doesn't matter what your comp plan is, don't worry about where you're placing them. What will happen if you do this is it will fill in the whole structure, and it'll create security, because everyone who comes in models the behavior. Hey, we're going to just keep recruiting until we have at least 4 lines chasing us. We're going to help each of those people. When we find someone who's really willing to do this, we're going to help them develop at least 10 levels deep, and we're going to rotate the training pattern so they're proficient in all those 4 skill sets. And that is how you build, that is the essence of how you build a large team.